This is my sister, my boyfriend, my brother, my dad, and my mom. These are the note cards I'll be using. My grandma is like every grandma. She loves to make us food. She smiles as soon as a grandchild comes to visit, and she has to have her hair curled before she walks out of her front door. My grandma is like every grandma, except she's had to work her whole life to provide food for her family. Her first job she had to quit when she got married because they could only afford one vehicle. And she's had to make sure that her family never had to struggle like she did. My grandma, better known to me as Nanny Phyllis, is as strong as an ox. As a child, we would beg her to tell us stories because she could tell them so in a way that would just capture our attention. I'm sure I heard the same story multiple times, but it felt like the first time all over again. As I've grown into an adult, she's become my solace. When I'm anxious, angry, or overwhelmed, I go to her. Today I want to celebrate why I admire and remain inspired by her strength, her confidence, and her love that she encompasses. I have so many memories of her, too many to tell you today. The first memory that comes to mind is when I was 6 or 7. We would lay across her lap as she picked the ticks off of her back. This was when she would scratch our backs and pick at little spots and say, "Boy, you sure do have a big tick right here." The grandkids would argue over who was on her lap the longest. The whole time she just smiled, knowing that we were putty in her hands. I would pay good money to be a child and lay across her lap again. The next memory I have is just silly. My sister and I were young, and we loved to play dress up. The best place to play was in her basement. But see, this caused a problem. She had dresses and slips that we could dress into, but we were too puny to fit in the dress. Well, sure enough, Nanny made sure that was good. She was a pro knot tire, and before we could shed a tear, we were in slips and pearls. Out of all the memories, my favorite one is when I applied to colleges. I had no idea what I was doing, and despite her own ignorance in the topic, she made sure to search for every single link. She made sure to ask her coworkers and make the phone calls to make sure I did what I wanted to. Everything she did was to help me. She would always say, "I don't care if you go to college, but get the education and the certification that you need for your dream job so you can depend on yourself and make your own decisions." She passed down this stubborn ignorance onto me, and I'm so thankful that I have at least one trait that she does. Today I went and drove up and saw her. She smiled and made her signature oatmeal and toast. When I'm overwhelmed, she calms me down. When I'm anxious, she hugs me and talks me through it. When I'm angry, she asks me if it'll matter a year from now and reminds me to forgive. As you can see, my grandma's like every grandma. She went to every Little League game. She tells me I'm beautiful when I look my worst. She gives the best hugs of anybody. Despite that, my grandma's not like every other grandma. She's become my inspiration and has evolved into my best friend.